This year's final major project was to create a form of media that links to identity. We were given different sections to make sure that we achieved the best grade possible. The different sections were planning, research, production, exhibition and evaluation. In planning, we had to create mind maps to show our different ideas. I had many different ideas to start with. At first, I was going to do a music-based magazine. However, I didn't feel that would push me or interest me. So then I came up with the idea to do a holiday brochure and represent holidays through social class and show how different holidays are worth money, but it shouldn't really matter how much you spend. It should be about who you spend your time with. Then I managed to complete my brochure within the first 4 weeks of production. My idea was the best thing for me because it allowed me to challenge myself and push myself to new limits. My idea was very out there and very different to other people's, so I think my work stands out from everyone else's. Before we could start production, we had to go through the research phase. This section was about planning and finding all the background information you needed for your project. I was basing mine on travel, so my professional profile was a travel journalist. Her name was Judith Baker, and she started her career by writing about technology. However, this didn't interest her enough, so she changed career and started writing about travel. She became the editor of a hit travel magazine called Caribbean World. We also had to do a page on the market, so we could research what the market was already like for our projects. The market for what I was doing is quite large and quite out there, so I had a lot of different ideas that I could choose from. I think research was useful for me because it gave me a lot of inspiration. From the market, I managed to get a lot of different holiday brochures and cut specific bits that I could use for my brochure. We had to highlight our unique selling point, and mine was that there isn't a holiday brochure out there that mentions all different places in the world, including the UK and abroad. A lot of them just focus on one specific place. Production lasted five weeks, and I managed to complete my final major project in 4. So on the last week, I had time to perfect it and make sure everything was how I wanted it. I managed to complete my production within the time and even a little earlier, which was good because it shows I was efficient with my timing. I'm very happy with my final major project because it's different from everyone else's, and I worked hard on it and I did my best. I believe I could have improved my project by removing some of the white backgrounds and making them coloured. I also could have included more places from the world, including Africa and Asia, because I focused on the northern hemisphere rather than the world. I achieved all of my goals. In fact, I exceeded them because my aim was to do 20 pages, but I ended up doing 52, which is over double the amount of pages that I set for my target. I did come across some issues of not being able to do my advert due to timing, because I would rather do one really strong piece rather than 2 rushed pieces. My work was always saved and I never encountered any technical problems. The only issue that happened was that my work wasn't printed at the printers for exhibition, but we overcome that by printing it off in college and people could still see it at the exhibition. During the production weeks, on week 3 and 4, we had to product test our project so far. I product tested mine by posting a survey on social media, included photos of my project so far, so I was able to get some constructive criticism, and a common comment that I got was that my brochure looked very professional so far and that my pages were looking good. A lot of comments were very positive, and not many people disliked my work. One comment I did get was that some of my titles were not capitalised and that my backgrounds were white, so it was not very eye-catching. So I made sure that all my titles were capitalised and made sure that all my pages had backgrounds rather than just being white. Project testing was definitely useful because it allowed me to get feedback on my project so I can make changes to anything that I needed to. It's the public that are going to be reading it, so I have to make sure it's what they wanted to see. If I didn't agree with the comments, that didn't matter because I needed to make sure the public liked it, because then my brochure would be successful. Exhibition was Monday the 19th of June, and this was an exciting evening for the whole class. It was a chance for me to show off all my hard work to our parents and friends. I chose to exhibit my work by using a table and getting different props to make sure my table was interesting and eye-catching for other people. I also got a world map and pinpointed everywhere that my brochure was advertising for. I got different brochures from travel agents and presented them on the table alongside mine so that people could compare the two. People said that my brochure looked professional and that they thought it was one that I picked up from the travel agents. People also said they would book a holiday with my company. I was very proud of my work, and presenting it to parents and friends of other students made me feel even prouder. I worked hard on it, and I was so happy with the way that it turned out. After hearing all the positive comments from people that I didn't even know, made all my worries go away. Worries about it not looking professional or good enough went away. The one problem I faced with exhibition was my brochure was not printed properly, therefore I had to use normal paper rather than glossy paper. This wasn't the end of the world, and I still had my project there to show everyone for exhibition. I was able to talk to a lot of people, express my idea, and a lot of people agree with the fact there is a stigma with money and holidays. From the project, I've learned that how to manage my time and how to get work done in a short amount of time to a high standard. I also learned a lot about different places in the world, and that some people are not as fortunate as others. And if you get to go on big expensive holidays, then you are very lucky. But sometimes those who just travel around the UK are just as lucky, if not luckier, because you can just have just as much fun in the UK in a caravan as you can have abroad with all expenses paid for. I definitely achieved my goals and definitely challenged myself. My goal was to complete 20 pages and I managed to do 52. I learnt that my strengths are design and colour schemes. I'm very good at balancing my pages so they are equal and one side hasn't got more on it than others. Also, my colour schemes are very good and are relevant to the topic and to that specific page. One of my weaknesses was that I didn't do holidays from all over the world. I focused on the Northern Hemisphere rather than all over the world. I didn't mention Africa, Asia or Australia. If I had, then I would have created a more diverse brochure. To improve in the future, I'll make sure that I do include places from all over the world and create diversity within my brochure. And then I will make sure that all the majority of my pages have a coloured or pictured background to make sure that all the writing stands out and each page is just as eye-catching together. Overall, I'm really proud of my work and I'm glad I managed to complete it before the deadline.